Beneath the golden eaves of the Imperial Archives, where silence ruled and dust held memory, Malma stepped into a forbidden world. Here, time was measured not in breaths or heartbeats, but in the slow, silent turn of ages. Around her, ancient scrolls slumbered, their wisdom undisturbed for centuries. Some were as old as the dynasties that had risen and fallen like tides. Her gaze, sharp and unwavering, scanned the endless rows of ledgers. The ink on some was faded, the paper brittle with age, yet the words burned into her memory like fire to kindling. Then she found it, a birth that didn't match a death, an anomaly amidst the rigid order. Suddenly, a chill snaked down her spine. This wasn't a mistake. She wasn't here by accident. Before she'd known any of this, before her life had become a tangled web of intrigue and deceit, the realization struck her like a physical blow, stealing the breath from her lungs and the strength from her limbs. He stood there, an imposing figure silhouetted against the fading glow, his features obscured by the gloom. But Malma recognized the set of his shoulders, the way he carried himself, the faint, familiar scent that clung to him, a predator who'd just scented his prey. His voice, when he finally spoke, was like velvet over steel, smooth, cultured, dangerous. "You've seen too much, Malma," he said, each word a caress, each syllable a threat. "You were never meant to know." She wasn't just a pawn, she was bait. And the game had been set in motion long before she knew it. Someone had been watching her, studying her, waiting for the perfect moment to make their move. Someone had guided her to the palace like a pawn on a board she didn't even know existed. A servant girl, her name lost to time, had arrived at the palace 5 years ago. She'd been listed as a nobody, a nameless face in the teeming crowd that supported the vast imperial household. Fear threatened to consume her, but she pushed it down, forcing herself to remain still, to become one with the darkness. As the footsteps drew closer, her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the silence. Yet there was no record of her passing. No entry marked her exit from this world. She had come, but she never left. And she wasn't the only one. She extinguished the lantern in her hand, letting darkness wrap around her like a second skin, hiding her, protecting her. For she knew that in this labyrinth of secrets, there was only one rule that truly mattered. You don't run from your shadows, you embrace them. Because in the game of life and death, sometimes the deadliest poisons take the longest to work. Others bore witness to emperors both revered and reviled. In the hushed stillness, the only sound was the soft rustle of her silk garments and the faint, steady drum of her own heartbeat. If others had disappeared without a trace, perhaps her own story would end there too. Perhaps she'd vanish from the records, becoming another nameless ghost haunting the imperial halls. And then she saw it, her name staring back, stark and undeniable against the aged paper. But it wasn't in the servant roster. Her fingers trembled as she traced the characters that defined her identity. Instead, it was in a list tagged Potential Assets, Red District. Her breath caught in her throat. The Red District, a place of silk and shadows where fortunes were made and broken, where whispers could topple emperors from their gilded thrones. To be listed there, it meant she'd been watched, studied, categorized like a commodity traded in the darkest corners of the city. It echoed in her ears, a counterpoint to the secrets that lay dormant in the archives. Armed with nothing but a flickering lantern and a heart full of resolve, Malmo began her perilous quest. It was as if they de-stepped off the pages of the ledgers and walked away from their lives, leaving behind only questions that echoed in the stillness. A network of ghosts, she realized, tethered to the palace, their spirits trapped within its silent walls. She started with the registry, the lifeblood of the imperial court, where every birth, marriage, and death was meticulously recorded. As Malmo delved deeper, more discrepancies revealed themselves. Servants who arrived and vanished without a trace, their stories abruptly ending at the palace gates. But as she turned the brittle pages, hope flickered. And beside her name, 2 words seared into her memory, high compatibility. Then she noticed the date. The list was from years ago, long before she'd entered the palace walls. Just then, footsteps echoed in the corridor outside, not hurried, not clumsy, but calculated, every step precise, purposeful. Then a tall shadow fell between the scroll racks, stretching and twisting in the meager light that filtered through the high windows. But in that moment, something shifted within her. Fear receded, replaced by a steely resolve.